Remember this moment on Wide World of Sports, Cale Yarborough crashing through the wall at Darlington, South Carolina. There's something about the design, something about the aura of Darlington that causes spectacular action. Time and again, we've seen it there. And today, in color from Darlington, South Carolina, you'll be seeing the annual running of the Rebel 400 stock car race.
This is Freddie Lorenzen, one of the biggest names in the sport of stock car racing. He's shown here driving to victory in the 1964 Rebel 300 stock car race. Freddie's record of 21 long-distance victories and a year in which he won $113,000 in racing purses will be hard to surpass. Freddie has since retired, and here he is earlier today as he took his number 28 Ford for a final two-lap ride around the Darlington Raceway before parking it forever in the Speedway's museum. The 30-odd thousand fans here today gave Freddie a memorable and fitting farewell, and the 32-year-old former carpenter's helper from Elmhurst, Illinois, must realize that he never again will feel the elation and excitement of a victory lane. I'm Chris Economaki at that Darlington Raceway, the 1 3/8 mile bowl in South Carolina that is the granddaddy of all super speedways. And the Rebel 400 today will be going for 291 trips around the track with 36 cars in action. Working with us on his first job since quitting the driving seat is Fred Lorenzen of Elmhurst, Illinois. Freddie, what kind of a race are we going to see?
Well, Chris, I look for a real fast race today. I look for Richard Petty and David Pearson to battle almost all the way. I look for a couple drivers like Buck Baker and Buddy Baker to just lay back and wait it out.
Freddie will be stopping back later in the race for some comments. And there's another interesting aspect to the race today. Richard Petty, with 54 victories on the Grand National Circuit, the same number as his father, is going for number 55 and a history-making ride. We'll see a great race. NASCAR champion David Pearson will start the race in the front row in his first ride in a factory Ford. And Earl Balmer, too, gets his first chance at a factory Ford ride. Paul Goldsmith, a Plymouth driver, one of the old pros on the NASCAR circuit, and the inside of a racing stock car. Freddie, what's that?
That's a 40-pound dry powder automatic fire bottle, Chris.
The right side of the cars really take a beating here at Darlington during the practice and time trials. And before the race, we talked with some of the drivers about the 400.
What kind of a race will it be?
It'll be a tough one. I'd say there'd be about 10 cars running a pack.
Well, there's about 4 of us. I imagine you can throw a blanket over all day. And out of that 4, I think you'll find your winner. I don't know who it'll be, though.
Well, it'll be a race where there's about 5 or 6 of us takes off in a pack. It'll be pretty exciting for a while, and then it's just according to how many cars is left at the end of the race is how close the race will be when it's over.
All the racing won't be on the track today. A lot of it will take place in the pits, an important place in a long-distance race for tire changes and work that has to be performed on the cars. Freddie, what's going on there?
Well, Chris, that's Wayne. He's putting some oil in a air-compressed container, which he'll put into the car under pressure during the race on a pit stop.
And the cars for the race are on the main straightaway now. The prize money today totals $64,000. And David Pearson in car number 17, a 67 Ford Fairlane, has won the pole position with a record 144.536 mile-an-hour qualifying run. That pole position allowed him to choose the inside or the outside starting position in the front row, and he's elected to start on the outside, putting Richard Petty in car 43, a 67 Plymouth, alongside in the front row. Earl Balmer in car 21 in a 67 Ford, and Buddy Baker in car 3, a 67 Dodge Charger, make up the second row. Darrell Derringer in a 67 Ford, number 26, and Plymouth driver Paul Goldsmith in car number 99 make up the third row. Well, here they come. How's it look, Freddie?
It looks a little mixed up to me for a start, Chris.
Here's the starter ready with the Confederate flag to drop down there. The flag is down, and action takes place early. Whitey Hassler, car 39, against the fence in a big snarl, a big tangle here before the race actually gets underway. Jay Thomas, number 25, involved there. The red number 11, that's J.T. Putney. Other cars there, car 46, Roy Main. David Pearson has grabbed the lead from Buddy Baker, but we've got a big mix-up on that main straightaway. Petty is third. Hassler in 39, Buck Baker and car 87 were involved, and here comes the field. Let's hope they all get by okay. There's Putney running for safety in the infield. All the drivers appear to be okay. They're out of their cars and have run to the side of the track, so the damage is purely mechanical. It's Pearson, Baker, Petty, and Balmer out there. Friday Hassler, car 39, is over here. He was the one whose car went up on the fence. Here he is. What took place out there?
Something sort of stupid. I don't know. It just... first thing I know, they started ramming in the back end of it and got me up on the wall, and then, I don't know.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
So Friday Hassler, who had the roughest ride out there, doesn't know what happened. The yellow flag is out. The maintenance crews are out there cleaning up the damage now. So let's take this opportunity to take another look at that starting line accident and try and figure out what happened. How does it look to you, Freddie?
Well, it looks like they're trying to get back in line before they hit that starting line. Looks like one of them gets hit in the rear.
It certainly scrambled the field, didn't it?
It sure did, Chris, and it's bad when it happens on that first lap with them all tied up.
Well, fortunately, no one was hurt in the incident. Let's hope that we have no trouble when the race gets going again. Well, the last 3 cars are about to be cleared off, and the field is now reduced to 30. 6 drivers and cars eliminated in that accident: Buck Baker, Friday Hassler, J.T. Putney, Frank Warren, Roy Main, and Jabe Thomas. Freddie, the slow going like this, does it enable a driver to get a little bit more mileage out of a tank full of gas?
Well, it usually does, Chris, except here at Darlington, the tire wear has been so bad that I don't think it'll help today.
But we'll be back for more action of the Rebel 400. Back at Darlington, South Carolina for the Rebel 400 restart. Stopped on the first lap because of a tremendous crash. David Pearson in car number 17 takes the green flag to lead the single file order into the first turn. Buddy Baker in car number 3 lies second, and Richard Petty, the defending champion in the race, is in car 43 in third. There's Pearson in a chestnut bronze number 17, his first ride in a Ford. Baker and Richard Petty making a race of it, going down the back straightaway. Into that number 3 corner, the tough turn here at Darlington. Freddie, what about the new asphalt we're seeing on the track here? Has it made a difference to the drivers?
Well, Chris, yes, it has. The 3rd and 4th turn used to be pretty rough. It used to be pretty slow through there. It's so smooth now, they say it's like glass. And the new asphalt is what has raised the speeds there. It is getting a lot better bite to the tires, but it's also wearing the tires out pretty quick.
Well, of course, it's too early to expect any pit stops, but the pace is tremendous. Pearson is averaging over 143 miles an hour right now on the track in that number 17 car. Top 3, Pearson, Baker, and Petty. Earl Balmer at car number 21 lying 4th. And now they're moving into heavy traffic on the main straightaway. The move-over flag has been waved by the starter, and Buddy Baker is looking for a spot to get by leader David Pearson. Richard Petty's waiting for someone to make a mistake that he can take advantage of. Down the back straightaway, 3 very powerful and fast cars overlapping Gary Sane of Hickory, North Carolina, before going into turn 3. And Baker rides mighty close to the leader there. Down the straightaway now, Baker makes his move on the inside, but there's a slower car in front of him. He still makes the pass good and takes the lead from David Pearson in car 17. Buddy Baker, second-generation speed star, whose father, Buck Baker, before him, has been a winner here at Darlington. Buddy, when he first came to Darlington years ago, used to play the part of Little Abner in the pre-race ceremonies.
It sort of looks like Richard's laying back, Chris. He had been talking earlier in the week about having some heating problems since he's installed his new engine, and I think he's a little worried about that, but it just looks like he's just laying back there. It doesn't look like he's trying to lead the race at the present time.
He's certainly not letting them get away from him, and here's a try by Petty high on the track. He almost got into the grandstand wall. Perhaps if the engine gets sort of run in a little bit more, it might be cooler.
It could be.
Down the straightaway now. The 3 leaders go. Buddy Baker, David Pearson, and Richard Petty. And Baker starting to move out now, build a little bit of a margin between himself and second place Pearson. And now Petty tries to make a race of it on the inside, coming into turn 1. And he moves into the number 2 position, putting Pearson back to 3rd place. So now we have Richard Petty in the Hemihead Plymouth number 43 in 2nd position. Incidentally, the 2 second place and 3rd place cars have got small engines in them for this race, feeling that the lighter car that the rules allow makes it easier on the tires. And here's heavy traffic, and Petty now on the outside, trying to get by Buddy Baker going into turn 1. And pass he does. That's a tough place to pass, isn't it, Fred?
One of the first times I've ever seen it done there at Darlington, passing on the outside going down the front straightaway. It very seldom happens, but I just saw it with my own eyes, so I guess it can.
So Richard Petty, the leader in car number 43, Buddy Baker second, and David Pearson third. So in the early going of the Rebel 400, we have seen the lead handled by 3 different drivers. First, David Pearson, who is now third. Buddy Baker now second, and Richard Petty, going for his 55th Grand National victory, is the pace setter at this point. A tremendous race so far, started with that wild crack up at the starting line. Action, high speed, the Southerners love it here at Darlington. A unique track, really, because each end is different. The first and second turns are high bank, and the third and fourth turns fairly low. And oops, here's trouble. Wendell Scott, car 34. Picked by Buddy Baker, and David Pearson mixes it in there with him, too. And Earl Balmer does a beautiful job of missing the action. That's Bill Champion. Freddie, what happened out there?
Well, it looked to me like Buddy was coming through there pretty strong, and he just couldn't get through there between Wendell Scott and the fence, and he nicked Wendell Scott in the back end.
And here's Buddy Baker now, headed for the Ray Fox pit. A little bit of damage to the left front quarter of the car. Doesn't look too bad. A tough break for young Baker, and Pearson as well, who was involved in that tangle. Richard Petty in car number 43, however, avoided the incident. And here's Pearson now coming to the pits with extensive left front corner damage. The crew goes to work on the car. And Buddy Baker into the garage area, out of it. A tough break. Here's the torch being used to cut away the front fender of Pearson's car. And here's Buddy Baker. Tough break. It was good while it lasted, Buddy. What happened?
The oil pressure dropped, so I just brought it in before I blowed the engine.
What about that front fender? What happened there?
Well, Wendell Scott was going down the back stretch about 40 miles an hour and pulled right out in front of him.
Tough break. And Pearson re-enters the fray, car 17, way down, however, way back. And here's Jack Sullivan, his mechanic. Handling qualities of the car been disturbed?
No, I don't think so. It's all right.
Now, what does this done to you in the position?
Well, ways back right now, but we'll make it up.
And Richard Petty, the leader, is in the pits. And he's getting oil out of that pressure bottle. Does this mean trouble, Freddie?
No, it doesn't, Chris. We use quite a bit of oil at the speeds we're running today.
And he takes a drink of water, takes on gas, tires, and roars back into action. He's lost the lead, of course, with this pit stop, putting Bobby Allison up in front, and he tries to pick up the tail enders. We'll be back with more action of the Rebel 400 in just a moment. Yellow flag is still out. Here's the green. Richard Petty is the leader. Bobby Allison having pitted. And now in a scramble for the start, Jim Pascal goes down low, pulls alongside of Petty, and moves ahead, going into turn 1. A surprise move by Jim Pascal of High Point, North Carolina, in a Plymouth, passing Richard Petty, a fellow Plymouth driver. Now on the track, Pascal sets the pace. Petty is second, and in third place is Earl Balmer in the number 21 Ford Fairlane. The standings have been shuffled, of course, by the pit stop. Sam McQuagg in the car number 16 Mercury Cyclone lies fourth. Remember now, Richard Petty in car number 43 going for his 55th Grand National victory. If he wins it, it'll be a history-making ride because his father had set the record before him in 54, and Richard tied it recently. And there goes Richard now, underneath Pascal, back into the lead. It's certainly wild going, isn't it, Freddie?
It sure is, Chris. Richards seemed to turn his car loose now, and I think he's going to really push it for the rest of the day, and Balmer's going to try to keep up.
Sam McQuagg in fourth, Balmer in third, Pascal now second, and the pace being set by rapid Richard Petty, another second-generation speed star. Here he is coming up the main straightaway, really pouring the coal to that Hemi-head Plymouth. A 404 cubic inch engine under the hood, smaller than normal, which allows the car to come to the line lighter. And weight is an important factor here at Darlington. Why is that, Freddie?
Well, I think it's mainly in the turns, Chris. The car doesn't drift as much. It's a little easier on tire wear.
Boy, Earl Balmer was really letting Jim Pascal know he was there a moment ago on the back straightaway. Used that front bumper for just what it was for. Up the straightaway now. Here, side-by-side action. Balmer tries to get under Pascal. Door handle to door handle, and Balmer makes the pass good. Balmer's been a little bit flamboyant in his driving today, hasn't he, Freddie?
Well, I guess the track is a little slick, and he's trying pretty hard. It's his first factory ride back in racing, and he seems to be drifting an awful lot in the third and fourth turn, mostly coming off of 4.
Well, here comes Larry Manning in car 63 with a blown engine. And will this add oil to the track, Fred?
It does. I think that has made quite a difference. It's gotten quite hot here this afternoon, and the sun is out, and the new asphalt's bleeding a little bit. It's getting awful slick out there.
Well, Richard Petty doesn't seem to be bothered by it at all. He's pouring the coal to that number 43 car. And now Balmer in second place moves up to make a race of it. David Pearson a good ways back in car number 17, trying to make up the lap he lost in the pits, having his left front fender cut away. And Sam McQuagg now moves into the picture, takes on Jim Pascal for that third position. High speed through the turns, and the fans love every moment of it. Now McQuagg pulls alongside of Pascal coming into turn 1 and can't quite find the steam, but stays with it. Round and round.
I don't think he'll make it there, Chris. Pascal's got that groove up high, and they're going down the backstretch.
Well, McQuagg certainly is trying, and they get to turn 3 and shuts him off there. They're really moving, and Balmer wraps the wall again, and car number 21 signals his pit crew that it'll be in one more lap.
That's where he's been having trouble, Chris, and he just hit it real hard. I see Glenn getting a rag ready there for the windshield, but I think he's going to need more than that.
Glenwood, the famous leader of the Glenwood pit crew, and Sam McQuagg in car number 16 by the white line in the turn. So Earl Balmer hits the grandstand wall a solid wrap and starts for the pits. Now Bobby Allison moves up to put the pressure on Paul Goldsmith in car number 99, a Plymouth driver. Before the race, we had an opportunity to talk with Paul Goldsmith about driving the track and the new pavement.
Paul, does the new paving make much difference in the way your Plymouth runs?
It's considerable faster. The number 3 and 4 turn, why you can go into the corner a lot harder and run it wide open all the way through the corner, where you used to have to back off several times through the corner.
Tough on the right side of some of the cars, isn't it?
It sure is. You get against that rail, why it really tears the side up.
It's Balmer coming to the pits in car number 21 for right side tires and right rear corner body work. They're prying the body away from the tire where he hit the wall there, coming into the main straightaway. The famous Wood Brothers pit crew in action here at Darlington. Balmer's explaining now precisely what happened out there to the crew. Paul Goldsmith on the inside of Bobby Allison, car number 6. Allison making his first start in a factory-sponsored Dodge, the Cotton Owens car. And here's Richard Petty in car number 43 coming into the pits. They're changing a lot of rubber here today, Freddie.
They sure are. Petty has been using quite a bit of rubber. It seemed like he was using a little bit more than the others. His tire's been smoking going into the first turn most of the time. There he goes. He wants some pills. I think they're salt tablets, and he puts a rag between his mouth.
Petty's a calm one in the pits. They're offering him more salt tablets while the work is taking place in the car. And, of course, people are wondering why he drives with this rag in his mouth. It's just a nervous habit, I guess. And put to the floor, Petty drags back out onto the raceway. The standings have been shuffling back and forth here now with the pit stops. Just about every one of the leaders has been going into the pits at this time. The cars do about the same amount of miles on a tank full of gas here at the Darlington Raceway. Traffic on the main straightaway. David Pearson just ahead of Richard Petty. And Bobby Allison in the pits. And he wants faster service. With Allison in the pits, this puts David Pearson in the lead, Richard Petty second, and we'll be back with more of the Rebel 400 in a moment. Back at the Rebel 400 at Darlington, South Carolina, and David Pearson is once again in the lead with Richard Petty a close second. Pearson has done a great job of making up time after an early pit stop to have work done on the left front fender. Petty in car 43 of Plymouth, who's been dominating the race in the latter stages here, has done a great job, and they're racing now very closely on the speedway. Pearson in a Ford, Petty in a Plymouth. Into the main stretch and down the track, heavy traffic, and now Petty tries on the inside to regain that lead from Pearson. Down low, his favorite passing place, and with a little bit of dirt track flamboyance, he makes it, letting the back end drift out. Close going, huh, Freddie?
It sure is, Chris, and I might add David's doing a tremendous job for being his first time in a Ford. It's a completely different suspension than the car he used to drive, and I'll tell you, he's doing a heck of a job with it.
A great driver, and he's not letting Petty get away either. He's staying right there, putting the pressure on him. Down on the inside. 1-2 race here for the lead, and the fans here at Darlington pay to see this kind of racing. Petty sets the hot pace now. Remember, they're going better than 142 miles an hour on this 1 3/8 mile speedway. And Petty hoping for his 55th win. And now Pearson is right there. The people are watching, and he takes Petty. Pearson once again in the number 1 position. And Petty now back to second in a great stock car race here in South Carolina. Pearson in the brown Ford, but Petty, who won't give up, tries once again to go back into the lead and makes the pass again. A seesaw contest. And Richard Petty once again regains the lead from David Pearson. Boy, oh boy, are these Southern stock car drivers really giving the people here at Darlington a show. Richard Petty and David Pearson, the 1 and 2 drivers. There's the yellow flag. Earl Balmer, the 3rd place driver, hit by Sam McQuagg up against the fence. Balmer's been having it tough all day. He hit the main stretch wall. Now he's hitting the fence, and he starts down across the track. And here's Pearson. Brakes locked up, skidding below, and miraculously gets by. Balmer looks like he's got more than enough trouble to knock him out as he coasts the Glenwood number 21 Ford Fairlane to a stop on the apron. A tough break for the Indiana driver. Here's the yellow flag now, slowing the cars down, and this means pit stops will be in order. And here's David Pearson coming in car number 17.
Oh, there's Freddie McCall changing in the right front, Chris. I would say he is probably the fastest tire changer in the business right now.
He's certainly doing a great job on that right front wheel. And David Pearson in the pits now with Richard Petty leading.
We'll be back for more exciting action of the Rebel 400.
Economaki with retired driver Fred Lorenzen back at Darlington, South Carolina. And the Rebel 400 is in the last third of the race. Richard Petty leads David Pearson in an exciting speed contest for late model stock cars on this 1 3/8 mile high-banked asphalt track. Petty's been doing a great job today, hasn't he, Freddie?
He sure has, Chris. It looks like he's commanding the race right now. Still, Pearson's giving him a threat, but it just seems like Petty's sort of pacing himself.
Well, Richard's a great driver, going for his 55th win, and if he makes it, it will set an all-time NASCAR record, and he's kept the fans on their feet most of the day. Here is Paul Lewis in a slow, lazy slide in car number 1, a Dodge Charger. A lot of rubber burned off the car, and that run to the apron. And Sam McQuagg, one of the top runners in car number 16, a Mercury Cyclone, into the pits for service. McQuagg dented that car early in the race, hitting Earl Balmer as he hit the fence, and was lucky to be able to continue. Here's a battle now between Paul Goldsmith and Dick Hutcherson for 5th place. And we'll be back with more action of the Rebel 400 in a moment. Petty now has put a lap on David Pearson as he waits in the pits for the crews to be finished working on the number 17 car and re-enters the fray, a lap behind leader Richard Petty. Petty's been out there a long time without making a pit stop, and his crew is worried about his tires. They've been wearing off all of the cars today at an exceptionally high rate. Here's Petty now down in the first corner. And up into the rail, and apparently a tire blew. Boy, a solid hit. That's a tough way to go, isn't it, Freddie?
It sure is, Chris. I think Richard's got some bars behind his fenders. Notice the fender isn't even bent much at all. He usually runs a little bar in there, like known as a poke bar, to keep in case of something like this.
Well, Petty's in the pits now, and the crew is working on the car. Now we'll see whether Pearson can get that lap back or not. Petty's been taking salt tablets, we understand, at each pit stop, and there he sort of tries to help the pit crew out with a little bit of a windshield job, but it doesn't mean much because they finished early and he gets back out on the track without Pearson making up the lap. And this could be a crucial pit stop, for now Petty has new tires and a full tank of gas. And here's Pearson now picking up a dice with Jim Pascal in a Plymouth on the back straightaway. So Richard Petty in and out of the pits in quick time, and Armand Holly in car number 5 blows an engine, spins in the corner, and there's excitement galore. Woo! It could have been a bad one. Two drivers have gotten by. Wild goings on here at Darlington in the first turn. Dick Johnson at car number 18 was the other driver involved with Armand Holly in that first turn accident. And the caution flag is out for the 5th time in today's race.
That first turn spin there, Freddie, was quite exciting. The driver's tired, or what happened?
Well, Chris, I just don't know. I think it was from a blown engine, and then 2 or 3 other cars hit the oil, and they all started to spin as another chain reaction. They couldn't slow down enough. Quite a few of them just barely missed the wreck.
Some of the drivers are going quite slow. Is that affecting the fast runners?
I think it is a little bit, Chris, mainly through 3 and 4.
And the green flag is out and the action resumes. There's Paul Goldsmith spinning around as the flag comes out down in the back. And there's heavy traffic here going into the first turn as the field once again resumes. Goldsmith somehow got into trouble coming down for the green flag. Shifts gears on the number 99 Ray Nichols Plymouth. Then gets back in action without causing the yellow flag to come out for the 6th time. Here's the leaders now coming off that 4th turn. Richard Petty in car 43 is the leader. David Pearson right in front of him. Petty is about to lap him. The rest of the field a good distance behind. Richard Petty, remembered, going for his 55th Grand National victory of his career. It will be an all-time record if he makes it, and now it looks as though he's going to get that victory and the record. Pearson at number 17 has been driving a brilliant race all afternoon in the ex-Fred Lorenzen Ford. He looks good in your old seat, Freddie.
He sure does, Chris. And I didn't think Richard would be running this hard near the end of the race. I don't think he knows that he has a lap lead because he's still racing with Pearson. He could just slow down and take 5 seconds off a lap and still win it.
Well, that's what makes racing. And here's Bobby Allison in car number 6, and Dick Hutcherson in the number 29 Ford fighting for 3rd place. And Jim Pascal in car 14 out of the race. That's the end of Pascal. Now Petty goes by Pearson to gain a lap. On the outside of Bill Champion, who spun earlier in the day. So Richard Petty now puts an insurance pass on David Pearson in the number 17 car. Down that back straightaway, and it's fast-moving racing. And we'll be back with more action from the Rebel 400 in a minute. In the final moments of the Rebel 400 at the Darlington, South Carolina Raceway, and Richard Petty leads David Pearson by a full lap in the closing stages of this speed contest. Other competitors far behind, and Richard Petty going for what hopefully will be a record 55th NASCAR Grand National victory. He holds the record jointly with his father, Lee, at 54 now, and if he wins today, it will be an all-time record. Pearson is 2nd, Dick Hutcherson running 3rd in car 29, and Bobby Allison there having trouble with Wayne Smith is 4th in car number 6. So Richard Petty takes the white flag, David Pearson right behind, and enters the last lap, the payoff lap, here at Darlington, South Carolina. And the Plymouth has been in and out of the lead all afternoon. David Pearson in car number 17 had early race problems, is in 2nd place. He's not letting up one bit, and perhaps maybe wants to get in the same lap with Petty in his first Ford ride. There's the checkered flag, and Petty has made it. Made racing history, has won the Rebel 400 in his 1967 Plymouth. Pearson is 2nd. The finishers are adjudged as the winner gets the checkered flag. 3rd place going to Dick Hutcherson at car 29 of Ford, and 4th place going to Bobby Allison in his first factory ride in the Cotton Owens Dodge number 6. 5th goes to Sam McQuagg in car number 16, Bud Moore's Mercury Cyclone. Petty stands to win $13,800 for his victory today. Freddie, if Pearson hadn't had that early race problem, what kind of a race would it have been?
Well, Chris, I think it might have been a little bit different finish, although the last 10 laps, the pace was up right around 143, but I think Pearson could have pushed it. I think it would have been just a wheel-to-wheel finish like it was.
A big day for the company, for the car, and for you, Richard. 55 and a record-breaking career. Congratulations. Was it a tough one?
Well, it started off pretty tough, and Farmer and Buddy Baker and David Pearson had trouble, and they was my main competition, and they had a little bit of trouble. Of course, I blew a tire and run into the wall, too, but they seemed to have a little bit more trouble than I did, and the car ran real good. So really, after we'd run, say, 100 miles, I felt like if nothing happened to the car, we had a real good chance to win the race.
Physically, are you tired out?
Well, when you win, you don't never get tired. I say if I'd have run 2nd, I might have been tired.
What about all this grit we see on your uniform? What's that from?
That's from tires. They wasn't lasting too good today. They was getting pretty good tire wear, and they were sticking good, but everybody was having a lot of trouble wearing them out. In fact, I wore one out and blowed it and ran into the wall going in number 1, but the inner lining saved me and the car both.
Richard Petty, a man who today at the Darlington Raceway made racing history. With his father, the man whose record he broke. Lee, how do you feel about all this?
Feel real good, Chris. I think he drove a real good race. The car handled good, and we had all the luck with us.
Well, congratulations to you both.
The drivers weren't the only ones who did a lot of work at Darlington today. It was a tough one on the pit crews, too. Petty's number 43 Plymouth used 16 tires, 12 on the right side and 4 on the left side before the 400 miles were over.
Well, Freddie, what do you think of the race?
I thought it was a fantastic race. I think the race would have really been a Pearson-Petty race all the way, but when Pearson lost that lap in the pits and sort of put him down, I think after that, Petty controlled the race the rest of the way. The pace was strong, right around 145 at the beginning, but it dropped considerably because the track got quite greasy.
How did you feel being in a wide world jacket instead of a driving suit?
Well, I don't know. I'm sort of miss racing more than I thought I would. I think the hardest thing in my life was when I made those last 2 laps in my car. I think if I had it to do again, I don't think I would have retired.
This is Chris Economaki from the Darlington Raceway.
The Rebel 400 was produced by Dick Kirchner. Associate Director in London, Larry Camp. Coordinating producer, Jim Spence. Rebel 400 produced in association with the Triangle Race Film Team. Now, this is Chris Economaki along with Fred Lorenzen saying so long from Darlington, South Carolina.